Hi FlossTube, I'm Sally. You'll know me as Stitchy Sally on Instagram. Today is the 27th of May, it is a Thursday, and this is my first FlossTube. I've been thinking about trying it, but obviously there's always that, will people watch? Will my content be okay? And I just thought the easiest way to find out is quite simply to try it. So here I am. It's a bit of a dull day, so I'm not quite sure how things will show. I'm filming on my iPad. I was going to try on my laptop. It's actually my daughter's old laptop. She bought herself a gaming laptop last year and passed her laptop on to me because mine was basically at the end of its life. But she says that because of the positioning of the microphone, you can basically hear, as she says, the laptop breathing. So I thought I'll try it on here first and see how I go, if I like it. I've got some whips, works in progress, not as many as I may have had in the past. Usually I would have something on the go for every night of the week, something different. But recently I have been trying not to do that quite as much. So at the moment I only have 3, which for me isn't many at all. I also have a little bit of haul, and I thought I'd show the drum finishes that I've recently done, my first 3, because I am quite proud of those. I'll see if I can show you anything. You'll have to excuse me, I don't know what I'm doing, I am a little nervous. So last week I started this. This is Early Christmas Morning by Blackbird Designs. I actually fell in love with this after seeing it. I believe it was a club piece for Dying to Stitch. And I waited rather impatiently for it to be released and immediately purchased it. These, you'll have to excuse me, they're a little bit tatty. These are the colours. They're not showing up terribly well, unfortunately. My iPad seems to be wanting to correct everything, correct the colours or not, as the case may be. I really love these colours, they are so beautiful. And this, don't know what I've done with a piece of card. This is disorganisation at its best. And this, you can see there, is my start. Well, it's not my start actually, because I have just about, finished the side band. I just have a little bit across here and some of the snowflakes, which are actually showing up quite nicely. So I am really pleased with that. And this is actually my piece for the For the Love of Brenda sale, which some of you may have seen on Instagram. It's hosted by Mistress Paige, and it has been so wonderful to see all the people joining in, wishing Brenda well. I actually only started watching FlossTube I would say probably about 6 weeks ago, and I actually started with Brenda and the Serial Starter, Brenda Sampler Stitcher and Laura, who is Modern Mozart. and I really enjoyed it, and they've kind of got me into floss tube basically. So, and it is so lovely to see so many people just wishing Brenda well. If you happen to watch this, Brenda, I hope you're doing okay, and lots of love to you. So yeah, that is my main piece really. I've been stitching on it quite a lot, and I do really enjoy it. How the making up will go when I have finished it, I don't really know. It could be fab. Now on a Tuesday evening, I do a Blackbird Designs sell with my dear friend Barb. At the moment, Barb isn't too well, so she hasn't been stitching a massive amount. I've been carrying on, and she's just been doing a little bit as and when she can. And I started this, Our Lasting Friendship by Blackbird Designs. I'm doing the main sampler. I was actually supposed to start this with Michelle, aka Mouse, Tales of a Stitching Mouse on Instagram, at the end of January, but I was feeling a little bit snowed under with lots of bigger pieces on the go, so I actually said to her, would you mind if I waited a while to start it? And Mouse, being the lovely person that she is, she said yes, that's fine. So I think I started this maybe 3 weeks ago. This is my Tuesday Night Blackbird piece, and Mouse has joined us. I'm actually not stitching it in all the fancy floss. I have some DMC there. I think I'm one missing actually. I think it's actually in my box. I didn't actually like the greens, the DMC substitutes for these greens, so I actually picked those up. It's a very muted colour palette, which is what I wouldn't normally go for, but I do quite like it. And this is, get it the right way around, where I'm at. It's not really showing it very well there. This is 25 count vintage country mocha, which I'm stitching it 1/1. It is really lovely. I wasn't quite sure how I'd feel about it once I started it, because obviously it's not normally, as I say, the colour palette that I would stitch. So that is that one. On a Friday, I have a sheep stitch along with Barb. Anybody who knows me of old will know that I do like sheep. So I like to stitch sheep, I like to see sheep in the fields, I like to take photographs of sheep. So yeah. So this is actually a new designer to me. I'd never heard of her before until I purchased this, and it's Vintage Needle Arts, Wilhelmina's Woolens. It's quite a sweet little design, and there are actually a lot of colours in this, which I was quite surprised about, as you can see there on the back. I'm not actually quite sure whether I'm doing this right, but anyway, I'm sure you'll forgive me. I don't actually have the colours to hand because they are in my thread box, but I am using the DMC as opposed to buying more fancy floss, because it's all I seem to have done just lately. and I have no idea what the fabric is because it was in a grab bag, I believe, that I bought quite a few years ago off one of the selling sites on Facebook. I think it's 28 count. It does look very much like 28 count, but I'm just not quite used to stitching on it anymore to know exactly. So this is how it's looking. Very, very difficult actually in here to get a good lightness for the fabric. But that's how far I've got. And again, more grass. It is either grass or houses that I seem to stitch. Maybe I was a builder in a former life, or a gardener, who knows. So that is that. I'm quite happy with that, quite happy with the way it's stitching up. So I have, as I said, a little bit of haul. It's not very much, and I actually think, I'm sure I must have put a thread somewhere and now I don't know where it is. So I buy online because we have no, like many of the country, like much of the country, we don't have an L&S nearby. So these were from Patchwork Rabbit, which I do use quite a bit. I bought some Photocount light mocha Zweigarts, and also these two threads. A couple of weeks dye works. Not showing very well again. May have to find somewhere else to film, but it's very, very difficult in this house knowing where to go. And those are for this. This is out of print. It's by Quick Garden by Blackbird Designs. I have been wanting it for quite a while, and I was very lucky. I actually put some feelers out on a couple of the selling groups on Facebook, UK selling groups on Facebook, and a fellow stitcher that I've known online quite a few years, she said, I think I've got it. And lo and behold, yes she did, and she was willing to sell me it for a very reasonable price, because as we know, Blackbirds go out of print and they can go for quite a huge amount of money. So I'm very pleased that I finally got my hands on that one. And speaking of Blackbirds, obviously we all know, as I say, they go out of print. I've been very, very lucky to have come across quite a few that I really, really wanted at a reasonable price through Stitching Friends. So yeah, that's really nice to get them, not to have to pay a massive amount. So what else have I got? Sorry, obviously I have no idea what I'm doing. So as I said, I tried some drum finishes. I've been going to try them for a while, and I've been putting it off because, yes, I do finish my own things, but I'm sure, like a lot of people, I don't feel that I do it particularly well. I try. And of course, again, we don't really have anywhere to be able to go and buy nice trims, fabrics, and things. We did have somewhere, but sadly the lady died in, I think it was April last year, and obviously the shop closed down, which was really sad when she died. So yeah, it can be a bit difficult to find things, and obviously when you're buying online, it doesn't always look like you thought it was when it arrives. But this past year, because of obviously the pandemic, and I haven't been wanting to go out of town to go anywhere else, I've just basically been trying to use what I had. This, and I'm really sorry because I've forgotten actually what this is called. This is my first attempt at a drum. Sorry, the light's coming in through the... I maybe should have gone further over. But this is, I believe... No, I'm sorry, I really cannot remember. It was a sal on Instagram, and I actually started this was my birthday start back in December. And I'm really, really pleased with how this came out. I haven't used crushed walnut shells or sawdust. So it's just filled with hollow fibre filling that I buy from the range. We don't actually have the range where I live, so it is a trip if I need any, but I have the last one I did buy online because they did have it. The second one that I finished was this one. This is Little House Needleworks House Rules, which I love. I mean, this obviously count twice, stitch once, which I don't always do, hence the reason why I end up frogging. I don't know when I stitched this, possibly 2019, so it has been languishing in my finishing pile. I am quite pleased to have it finally finished. And then earlier this year I finished Plum Street Samplers My Peaceful Home, which was one of my Friday night sheep stitches. And again, putting off finishing it. But there it is. It's not quite how I would have liked it. I've got a little bit too much stuffing in, I think, maybe here and there. I've tried to make sure that it was stuffed quite well, and I think I've maybe just got it out of shape here and there. But I am really, really pleased. I just, as I say, I'm not the greatest finisher, and it's something different, obviously, to what I would normally do. And I'd just like to give a shout out to Vonna of the Twisted Stitcher, because I used her video tutorial for drum finishes. And if you are a little bit sceptical about trying your own finishing, and you haven't seen any of her videos or any of her written tutorials, do go and have a look. If you search for, I think it's the Twisted Stitchers finishing? No, sorry. What I'll do is, if I can work out how to do it, I'll have a look for it and I'll pop it in the box down below if I can work out how to do it. I should have had a look at that and written it down. That's not very good, is it? But yeah, if you have a look for a blog, The Twisted Stitcher, I'm sure there will be a link on there to her finishing blog. Learn to Finish with the Twisted Stitcher. There we go, I've got it. It came into my head. Do go and have a look because she is brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and I would really recommend her. I think not this weekend, but the following weekend is the BBD Weekend Sal, hosted by Brenda and Laura. The last one I decided to stitch a strawberry from this book. Oops, sorry. I don't know really how well I'm going to be able to finish these because they look extremely fiddly. So this, I've lost my piece of card, never mind, sorry. This is the one that I stitched for the first weekend. The colour, I'm really sorry about the colours on this, it's not so great. Oh, my iPad's slipping, sorry. Oh dear, if anything could go wrong it will, won't it? So for the next one I'm going to stitch this one. I'm not necessarily going to stitch them all. There are a couple that I'm not particularly keen on, so I will probably only stitch maybe 4 of them. There's 6 in this little booklet. It's quite a sweet little booklet. I don't really tend to make plans because I don't really stick to them particularly. I did at the beginning of the year decide on some of the larger pieces that I wanted to stitch this year. Whether they will get stitched is a different matter, but yeah, there are some that I would really like to do this year. So what else have I got? Yes, my In the Very Beginning by the Scarlet House. This was my 1st of January new start with my friend Sue. We decide on a 1st of January start. It's not necessarily going to be the same start. So this was mine. And I am hoping to finish it as it's supposed to be. I won't have the ruler or anything like that, but I am hoping to do it in a similar fashion. These are the colours. Again, not really showing very well. I'm going to have to find a different place maybe to film or something. And I started off with the Stitcher's mat. And this is the finish. I don't know whether I can get it all in or not. There we go. Again, colours really not showing how they should. This is 35 count Vintage Country Mocha, which is my absolute favourite fabric. I really do like it. And again, lots of grass, my favourite thing. Not. But I love the colours. They're really beautiful colours, and that strawberry tree in the middle is lovely. And as you can see, there is a snake. I left that to stitch until last because I am terrified of snakes. It's been something that I've had with me since childhood. I don't remember why, but obviously something has happened at some point that has made me not like them at all. And then I started on the little pin keep, which I don't really know what I was thinking. Probably not thinking, but I knew that it had initials, but I forgot that it actually had these bits on. So I started stitching the initials, and then my brain went, I think there's something else that should be here. So I looked at my chart and realised, so I'd only got the top bit of the S stitched and a little bit of the W, and I had to unpick it because I didn't particularly want to cut another small piece of fabric, but it's done, and I do like the way the alphabet looks. I think it's really sweet, and this just finishes it off quite nicely. So I think that is all I've got to show you. If I decide to film again, it'll probably be in a couple of weeks. My husband is on holiday from work next week. We probably won't be going anywhere, because me being me, I just don't feel ready. So we have some new garden furniture coming tomorrow, being delivered. We actually went and had a look at it at our local garden centre a few weeks back, and we chose a couple of pieces, a bench and an angled two-seater thing. I don't really know. And unfortunately they're out of stock, but they've come in stock this week, so we have to hire a skip, because my husband took the wall down that separates the patio from our lawn, so we need to get rid of that, and we also have some rubbish as well that we need to get rid of. So hopefully we can get our patio sorted out next week, providing of course we don't get the rain like we've had this week. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm sorry it's been a bit of a mishmash, but it is my first. If you have any hints or tips for me, they would be very well received. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!